Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Force here, and today we will be discussing the Steam Greenlight program. This is an initiative that Valve announced back in July. It is now officially live and available for use on the Steam store, and I wanted to take some time today to talk with you guys about what Steam Greenlight is and what it means to the gaming community, more specifically what it means to us as gamers. So in a nutshell, Steam Greenlight is a program that allows developers to post up their games for community review. We get to decide and vote upon what games we're interested in and would like to see become available on the Steam store. Now in the past, the way that games made it onto Steam is that Valve has this internal team that would take a look at all of these games submitted to them by developers. They would then go ahead and pick and choose the ones that they thought were worthy of being promoted and sold on Steam. The problem is, of course, that maybe there's games that we're interested in that the Valve team passed on. And this is a way with Steam Greenlight that we can actually promote those games and say, hey Valve, I like this idea, I think this game looks great, I want to see it sold on Steam so that I can play it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Steam Greenlight program, starting with the front page. What you're going to notice right here is it is displaying 1 out of 30 on the first page out of a total of 296 entries. So that means as of this moment, as of this recording, there are 296 individual games available to be rated. And you know what? This number is ever growing. In fact, let me just go ahead and refresh the page. And 306 entries. So as you can see, this is going to be a list that continues to grow over time. Hundreds and hundreds and eventually thousands upon thousands of games will be available for rating on this service. Now you might say, well, that's a hell of a lot of games for me to look through and try to find ones that I'm interested in. A good thing that Valve has done here is actually put a filter system on the right hand side, which will let you go ahead and decide what genre you want to take a look at, as well as what platform, and also the number of players, whether or not it's a co-op game, whether or not it's a multiplayer or single player game. I think this will make the whole process of looking through games a little bit easier, although I can still see this being a headache, especially since it has been stated here that games are actually never going to be removed from Steam Greenlight unless the developer decides to take it off. So eventually there will literally be thousands and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of entries here. And I hope that in the future, when that time does come, because it inevitably will, that there will be more than just this filter system. Maybe they can have a sort by most popular, or even a sort by least popular. That way, if there are games at the bottom of the barrel, you can go ahead and promote them if there are some down there that you're interested in. So let's take a look at the front page here. As you can see, various games. I'm not entirely sure how this is defaultly filtered here. If I refresh again, let's see if any more games have been added. I know it is still 306, but you know, when my first refresh, all these games on the front page were the same, so I do wonder if these are the most popular games that have been currently voted upon. So we're going to go ahead and scroll down here and take a look at all these different games. Again, there's a total of 30 here on the front page. And there's one down here that I actually was really interested in taking a look at, and that is this one right here, The Story of Dakara. The reason I'm interested is nothing other than the thumbnail. I just thought this was really cool artwork, and I wanted to learn a little bit more about it. So I clicked through, and what you're going to get immediately upon clicking through is what you basically see on the Steam store. You know, when you normally look at a game, you get a couple of videos typically and a few screenshots. Well, that is going to be included here. As of this moment, there are no videos, although the developer could eventually add that in the future. So as you can see though, there are various screenshots for us to take a look at, giving us a little bit of a better idea of how this game looks visually. Now scrolling further down, you're going to get a description of the game, including the type of game that it is. As you can see here, The Story of Dakara is an adventure platformer which also combines action, puzzle, stealth, combat, and RPG elements. So it sounds pretty interesting, and it looks like it's a 5+ hour game. I would imagine that something like this would probably be in the $10 to $15 mark. But again, the visual aesthetic is something that I really liked. I like the way this main character looks. I think that's pretty neat. Not so sure about that concept art, but that's just me. So this is what you're going to get on every one of these game pages. And we go ahead and go back, and we can click through on another one. Let's take a look here at Slender Man. That seems to be popular right now. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of Slender style games being released, and I guess this is just another one of them. Slender Man, ooh, spooky. And if it's a game that you're interested in, you can see the rating system here. There's thumbs up, thumbs down. There's also a report. If you think a game's just so awful, you could report it. I would imagine this is if something gets posted that's just ridiculous shenanigans, people would report it for that. Or if someone who isn't actually the game developer happens to post a game, I could see that being a reason to report it as well. So yeah, you just go through this list and you pick and choose the games that you're interested in and you give them a thumbs up. And based on this thumbs rating system, it's going to help determine what games actually get pushed through and eventually become available on Steam. There's also, you can filter by the games that you've rated. You can look at pending and accepted games. Again, this is a brand new program. It just went live, so nothing's there at the moment. But let me go ahead and show you the filtration system. So let's see if I want to take a look at some RPGs. There you go. I can filter through by RPG. And if I want to filter through by action RPG, I can go even further. If I want to filter through by free-to-play action RPGs, well, that's a much smaller list, as you can see there. So, yeah, this filter system is really awesome. I think it's going to help a lot, but still, I can definitely imagine that over time, this list is going to get just absolutely ridiculous, and I hope that there's more that they can do. And look at this, already up to 308 entries. So since we've started recording this video, lots more games continue to be added here to the list. Now, the next tab up top is going to be a collections tab, and this will actually, these collections appear to be from various, I guess, groups or individuals of saying, hey, these are the games that we're interested in. So you can see there's the Greenlight bundle number 1. There's IndieGame.com's top Greenlight picks. So if you like IndieGame.com and you would like to know their opinion, you can go ahead and take a look at their top picks for games through this Greenlight service. In addition to that, there's also a discussions board. This is, I guess, basically the forums here where people are talking about different games. Someone right here saying this is a bad idea, and that's pretty interesting, and I actually wanted to also set apart part of this video to talk about what the Greenlight program could possibly mean and the pros and the cons to it. Also, in About Greenlight section, this will give you further information about what the Greenlight program is and you know, how the voting system works and everything. And one big thing I did want to show you here too is this is a section for developers, but it says, you know, how many votes does a game need to get selected. Valve states here that there isn't really a set number of votes, and especially as things change and more people use Steam Greenlight, then if they try to set like, oh, you need 500 votes to get your game posted on Steam, well, that would change, because eventually if there's like thousands of votes all the time, then that means every one of 500 votes will get through. So it's going to still be vetted by Valve. They're still going to decide whether or not that they want this game to go through. And, you know, if they see a particular game that maybe doesn't have a vote threshold, whatever it is that they're going to set, but it's getting a lot of traction and a lot of attention, that they still might push it through to become available on Steam. So now that we've discussed what Steam Greenlight is, let's take a moment to talk about, is this a good idea? You know, is Steam Greenlight something that's actually beneficial, or is it going to, you know, sort of be an issue? You look at something like this, and the immediate thought is, this is just going to be a huge popularity contest, right? I mean, all that's going to happen is you're going to have certain websites or certain individuals with a large following, be it a YouTube personality or just you know, someone in gaming press that's quite popular. You look at popular gaming websites, and if they get behind a particular game, then that game's going to be guaranteed to be placed upon Steam. Does that mean that everything else through this service won't get attention, and unless it's promoted by some large individual person or interest group, that it's not actually going to be pushed through on Steam? Well, I have to imagine, and someone could correct me if I'm wrong, but I have to imagine that Valve is still going to take it upon themselves, in addition to the Steam Greenlight program, to actually pick and choose games as well. So it won't just be what people vote upon that will make it through. It will also be, they will still use their internal team, and they will still decide and determine if there are games that maybe aren't highly rated through Steam Greenlight, but they still think this is a good game, this is a game that should get pushed through, and this is a game that we want to promote on the Steam service. Again, that is my hope. I don't necessarily know that that's going to be true, but I just have to imagine that that will happen, and that Valve will take it upon themselves to also be promoting and posting games under their own volition, not just based on what the community wants. So again, there could be a negative where only games that certain individuals decide to get behind, or certain websites or interest groups get behind, that those will be the only ones that are highly rated and actually get pushed through. But at the same time, I think that having this wide array of things to take a look at and to filter through is going to be a great thing. And again, there's lots of things on here that I've never heard of, and I'm in gaming media, I'm in gaming press, and I'm all about new and upcoming games and taking a look at what the next big thing might be. And the fact that there's plenty of games on here that I had never even heard of that look pretty interesting, that's a good thing, and that just goes to show you that this is going to expose people to new and exciting things that they may have like, what the hell is this? Battle for Presidency? That is George Washington and Abe Lincoln, and they are super ripped and getting ready to beat people up. That's hilarious. And I want to see this come through just because I think that's the funniest thing I've ever seen. That is really Abe Lincoln and George Washington fighting in the White House, battling for presidency. Yes, please. I mean, the graphics look terrible. It could be just an absolutely horrendous fighting game, but that's great. That's a riot. And that's the kind of thing that I probably would have never heard of if it wasn't for Steam Greenlight. And that's why I think that this overall is going to be a really great thing. And you also have to take a look at the developers. This service is going to allow developers who may otherwise get, no backing behind their games. At least it's getting it out there. Steam is so popular and so many people are going to be checking out Steam Greenlight. At least something like right down here, the one that I was taking a look at, the story of Dakara. This is the first time I've heard of it, and just by taking a look at the art, great work, I'm interested. I would like to know more about this game, something that, again, I probably may have never heard of before and may have never come across my site, and something that I would never known that I would be interested in. So that is definitely a pro behind it. And what I would like to know from you guys is, what do you think about Steam Greenlight? Do you think overall this is going to be a positive or negative thing? Do you think it's going to help or kind of water down Steam? A big concern is that there may be too many games that get pushed out now just because people go around voting for this, that, and the other thing that turn out to actually be garbage. And just because people vote for it and they say they're interested in it, maybe they aren't actually, and by the time it comes to, it becomes available and it becomes available for sale, no one actually buys it, and then it turns out that people are just voting for stuff, nothing that they're actually interested and intend on buying eventually. And the other concern, of course, is what about games the community doesn't know that they want? What about if there are games that have, great gameplay mechanics and lots of interesting concepts that it may not be the normal or the standard, what people are used to, but it may be something that once it comes out and once they get their hands on, it would be great. Well, if it doesn't get voted on through Steam Greenlight, does it ever make it live? Does Valve actually take the time to post this game, even though the Steam Greenlight community hasn't voted on it? It could be something great, interesting, super innovative, but because it doesn't have a lot of backing, because it's a new, fresh idea, it never goes live, that could really suck as well. So thank you guys so much for listening to this video. Again, I wanted to just take some time to talk with you about Steam Greenlight. Please be sure to leave your thoughts and opinions on this new service and program below. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe to the channel. Keep watching and keep owning.